Hi, you guys. We're in Dungeon Alchemist today, a slightly different software tool than Dungeon Draft in that it really does everything for you. I mean, honestly, for the DM that is in a rush, this is probably the best thing in the world for you. A lot of the maps that I've created, I've done so in probably 20 minutes or less, and this one's no different. It's sped up, but this one did not take me a lot of time to get something to look great. And this does have an entire sort of three-dimensional view and perspective thing that you can do with it, but I tend to use this purely for sort of that isometric top-down map view, and my players love the art style of this. One thing that I do specifically with Dungeon Alchemist is I find a perspective that I enjoy, that I think is a good enough space for my players to run around in a combat scenario, and I fix the camera there. And then through the clever usage of perspective tricks, just like Peter Jackson in Lord of the Rings, I make sure that everything looks right. Like, for instance, if you were to look at that bridge from the side, it would look like a stack of firewood. It wouldn't look like a bridge. But from this perspective, you can't tell. You just can't tell, and that works for me. And my players, again, they love this art style, and it's quick and easy. It's in early access on Steam at the moment. I'll probably be testing this one out, as well as, Tailspire. I have that one, and a few other tools maybe here and there eventually. Hopefully. We'll see. But anyway, honestly, I haven't spent that much time in this software. Most of the maps, again, I've made in 20 minutes or less. And so I'll pop up some of those here at the end, and some of them are less impressive than others, but I think I've spent about 5 hours of playtime in Dungeon Alchemist, and it is well and truly plenty of time to make some great-looking maps. The lighting and everything in this really is, it's just spectacular. And there's enough items that you can do anything. It may take a bit of work to get it to look exactly as you want it to look. In that regard, it may not be as customizable as something like Dungeon Draft. But if you're clever and you can, again, be creative with these sorts of things, you can, sky's the limit. You can do whatever you could in those other tools with this if you're clever. Not that I've ever been clever. That's absolutely not the case. But yeah, this one I thought I would do a bandit camp of some kind, because one of the first things you ever run into in a D&D encounter, so why not make a bandit camp? And I wanted to do it on a ridge. It generates all the vegetation for you. You choose those options when you set up the map parameters and all of that. This is the ravine style, I believe, and I added no water to this map. You can always go back and add that. You can see I'm already taking a screenshot here. And there's the final product. I did a little bit of color correction afterwards because I wanted it to look a bit more dusky, a little bit more orange-hued and everything, but I'm happy with that. Plenty of, interesting topography for your people to hide behind and get some extra cover behind these trees. Maybe you could have some sort of standoff with the ranged archers on that little nook on the topmost portion of the map there. Could be an interesting encounter. Here's some of the other maps I've made. Again, didn't spend much time on this. I know it's not super impressive, but I wanted a good, easy to see, with plenty of space, sort of necromancer battle. And I mean, again, these were pretty much drag and drop. It has a room tool, which hopefully I'll be able to show in some future videos. And this software really just excels at interior cells, like specifically abodes and mansions and castles and that sort of thing. I don't think there's another excuse me, I don't think there's another software tool out there that does as well with that kind of thing. I think it definitely does interiors better than anything else. Again, still in early access as well, so hopefully we'll see increasing functionality and everything. But like I said, as you can see from this map, sky's the limit with your imagination. I'm pretty proud of this. I wanted sort of a temple that had fallen maybe into a ravine or something, or was, buried in the caverns beneath, who knows. And it absolutely is. It will work for that sort of scenario. You know, sky's the limit. And as I've said in other videos, if you're clever with the items that you use, you can trick players into thinking, yeah, that little loaf of bread is definitely a skull. All you've got to do is commit to the bit. But yeah, as you can see from this, the interior cells in the mansions and stuff really is where I think the selling point of Dungeon Alchemist sort of hits home. You know, a lot of the little plates and clutter and things like that are hard to get right, you know, and if you're not someone who enjoys making maps. And so it does all of this sort of thing pretty much instantaneously. This is another good map, good open space foyer or whatever you want to call it, with 2 corridors. It's very simple, but at the same time, interesting enough that you could have a cool battle here in this this chamber. And as I've said a million times in this video, probably, if you're in a rush, I can see no better solution for you in dungeon map making. It's very quick. I enjoy map making, so I don't mind spending time on it. But if you're someone who would rather just, you know, hit it and quit it, so to speak, then don't say that. Create something quickly, then this is definitely, I think, a good option. This is, you know, one of the quickest tools I think that I can use. And honestly, if players decided, you know, on the fly to do something that I hadn't, you know, planned necessarily as a DM, then this is easy enough that I could generate a map, you know, very quickly if I needed to, in a crunch or in a pinch. And so, yeah, I'm happy with the tool. If you're interested in this sort of thing at all, I encourage you to check it out on Steam. It is, I'm not sponsored or anything, but I don't know why I'm acting like I am. But yeah, it's a cool tool. Anyway, end of this video. Thanks again for watching. More of this stuff, hopefully, coming soon. Thanks.